he is the best performance in high school I've ever seen.
High school?
High school performance. I watched him. I watched one game of him in high school.
How?
And that was the best performance I've ever seen.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Monster Monday presented, of course, by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Hope everybody had an awesome weekend. We'll get to my weekend maybe a little bit later on in the show if we have time. Awesome guest for you today. Coming off all of the combine drills, he's the #1 ranked wide receiver for the 2025 NFL Draft. People are comparing him to Mike Evans. If you need a receiver and you want to go through the draft, you might strongly have your team considering Tetairoa McMillan. He goes by T-Mac. Love talking with college prospects during this time right before the NFL Draft. And obviously, we may get to some combine news later on in the show, although a lot of combine talk later on in the week with Greg Cosell, and a lot of combine talk on today's college draft podcast as well. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
I love talking with guys that are going to be first-round picks and just talking about what that process is like, what's going through their heads right now. I've got T-Mac, the receiver from Arizona. I asked him how to pronounce his first name, and I could try it 5 times, but without more prep, I wouldn't be able to. So I'm going to let you do it.
My name is Tetairoa McMillan.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And what is that, Tetairoa?
That's Tahitian.
Tahitian?
Yeah.
That's where your family's from?
No, I'm from Hawaii.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you move? I saw you move to Cali.
Yeah.
Was that for football, for sports, or just your family wanted to live in Cali?
Yeah, I feel like it was just for more opportunities. I mean, I was young, so I didn't really have a say in anything. But
yeah.
My family and I moved out to Cali just for better opportunities.
Like academics and football and everything?
And work for my parents.
Right.
Regular stuff.
Okay. So what's this feeling like for you right now? So you and I are talking in February. The draft's coming up in April. Walk me through whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis and what you're feeling.
I mean, right now, I'm training for the combine, training for pro day. Looking forward to getting drafted in April and playing my first season in the league. But I keep saying this, but this whole process, it's not real. It feels like fake almost. Not too many people get to experience what I'm experiencing right now. And I'm fortunate enough to be invited out here to the Super Bowl by Sharpie, and I was fortunate enough to partner with them and be a Rookie of the Year Sharpie following the lead of Roma Dunze and Mike Penix. I partnered with them, and I'm looking forward to signing my first NFL contract with a Sharpie pen, S-Gel, no smear, no smudge. And hey, I actually want to gift you with some of my personal Sharpie pens.
Nice,
I got to gift you with my Sharpie pens.
Ooh,
man.
Can I grab these two?
You can have them all if you want.
Oh wow, thanks, man.
Got my signature on them, my personal Sharpie.
Dude, that is sweet.
Yeah.
Who's your marketing guy? You hooked that up pretty quick.
Oh yeah, no, that's my dog. Look, Gino, Gino on the phone over there. Hey, he always business. Bzz. Look at him.
That is awesome, man. That you already got that deal. I have to be honest with you though. Why is Sharpie advertising or promoting? I don't even know what the alternative is. Like I don't ever sign an autograph with anything other than a Sharpie. Like I don't even know who Sharpie's competition is.
Exactly. That's my point.
People don't say, "Hey, can I get a marker to sign this?" They say, "Can I get a Sharpie?"
Yeah.
Like it's like Kleenex or can I grab a Coke? It's like you guys already got it, bro.
Come on, it's always a blessing being able to put my name next to Sharpie. Can't complain.
No, that's awesome. It's so funny because I was so ready to say to you, how did you end up in Arizona? Like, were you a late bloomer coming out of high school? But I read up on you. Dude, you were a 5-star, like #1 recruit ever at Arizona. It sounds like you went there primarily because some of your boys were going there. Tell me about that.
So yeah, I was originally committed to Oregon
Yep.
my senior year, and then unfortunately the Oregon coaches left to Miami probably like a week and a half before signing day. Yeah.
Oh.
But my
Cristobal and those guys.
Yep. But my second choice was Arizona because, I mean, my best friend was committed over there, and the 3 of the boys that I played youth football with were going over there, and I played high school with them. So I was like, man, come on, let's do it.
And you know what? You were a big part of turning that program around. I mean, that program had been down for a while, and then what you guys were able to do, and I know Coach Fish ended up getting the gig with Washington, but you got to be proud that your group, you guys kind of put Arizona Wildcat football back on the map.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the point of it. You know, we didn't want to play with the best. We wanted to play against the best. So we kind of just, you know, we want to be pioneers in the whole college football world. You know, going to a school that went 1-11 when we committed over there, going 5-7 our freshman year, and we went 10-3 our sophomore year. So winning the Alamo Bowl versus Oklahoma. So I mean, man, that's stories that you only hear in movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So being able to do that, and at the end of the day, all we wanted to do was, you know, bring light back to Tucson, allow them to find pride in our play. So
yeah,
hopefully, you know, we put smiles on the faces of Tucson.
You absolutely did that. Who are the guys that you like watching in the league? So my show is primarily NFL fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them don't know that much about you, probably haven't seen you play, or they've heard about you, or maybe like they're hoping their team drafts you. Is there a guy that people compare you to, or that you compare yourself to at all in terms of similar play style?
During this whole draft process, and a lot of people that I've talked to, they've compared me to Mike Evans.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good comp, man.
Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine having that career? 1,000 yards, like
11
12?
straight.
Is that, was it 11?
11?
That is unbelievable.
That's ridiculous. So
because you know every week that's who they're trying to stop. That's what's so impressive. He got to go to the Hall of Fame.
Have to.
It's unbelievable.
Have to, no question.
I can see that. So tall, but can run, but also terrific contested catch.
Yeah.
But you can also run routes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've heard about you, is that you run routes like a much smaller guy.
I mean, I try to, you know, being able – I already have the advantage at 6'4", bigger receiver. So, I mean, my years in college, you know, I've been trying to steal pieces from other receivers, smaller receivers in practice or in the game. Like, if I'm able to expand my horizon and be able to run every route in the route tree at 6'4", already having the advantage,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
It's only going to help me out.
What do you weigh, T-Mac?
I'm like 215.
Is that about where you want to be?
Yeah.
6'4", 215. So it's funny, Puka's right there. I don't know if you know Puka at all, but I had him on the show earlier. I love how physical he is.
Yeah.
Do you get after it like that?
I try
as a blocker?
I mean, you know, he Polynesian. We both Polynesian, so we came up tough. So I feel like that's a big characteristic that Polynesians have, is being able to be tough. And the funny story about Puka is he is the best performance in high school I've ever seen.
High school?
High school performance. I watched him. I watched one game of him in high school.
How?
And that was the best performance I've ever seen. He had like 317 yards.
But he's in Utah.
He played a team in California.
Oh, and you went to the game, or you saw it on TV or something?
No, I went to the game.
You went to the game?
Yeah.
How old were you?
It was my I want to say it was my freshman year of high school.
And he was a senior.
He might have been a senior, yeah.
Okay, and that was the best you've ever seen a receiver?
He had 317 yards with like 4 or 5 touchdowns. Come on.
Playing against who? Do you remember?
He played against Santa Margarita High School.
They're usually pretty good, right?
Yeah, they're pretty
Orange
solid.
County?
Yep, because he went to Orem.
Right, in Utah.
Yeah. Yep.
How did Santa Margarita not have, like, double cover him or something?
I don't know. Funny story was I was there to watch my cousin play. My cousin played on Santa Margarita.
Okay. That is funny. You mentioned Polynesian and growing up tough. Tell me about that. Tell me about your upbringing and how you were brought up and how that helped you get where you are now.
Oh, man, I have a good supporting system. My family, you know, they raised me in the right way. You know, they taught me the importance of humility and gratitude. that's all I can be right now. I'm super grateful to be where I am. God has blessed me with many gifts and talents and opportunities, and I hope that I can glorify Him and make the best of what I got. So I have no reason to not be successful with all the blessings that He's given me.
And I did 2 Hawaii games on TV this year, actually. When they played UCLA was the first one. And the one thing I noticed talking with some of the Polynesian guys for Hawaii, family is everything. Like family and loyalty is everything.
For sure. I mean, that's a big thing for us, respect, loyalty, and family, and the man above. So they really try to engrave into our minds those characteristics and those traits. And man, I can say that I can definitely say they did a good job in engraving it into mine.
Did you have a favorite team growing up? NFL team?
I never had a favorite team. Like I always said, my favorite team is whoever drafts me.
All right, people say you remind them of Mike Evans. Do you have a favorite guy that you like to watch?
Nah, I don't really watch specific receivers. Growing up, I liked Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I can see that. You remind me of him a lot.
Yeah, that's one guy.
Your
that I was
hands
like,
and body control.
Mm-hmm.
And you were, well, I guess he was gone by the time you got to Arizona, but still.
Yeah, but nah, that's one guy. I mean, come on, Hall of Famer. Can't go wrong with looking up to him,
No, I mean, there's no question. What's the first thing you'll do when you get drafted, or when you sign your contract? Have you thought about it?
First thing I'm gonna buy or something?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it. Maybe probably just a house.
Yeah.
I'll probably just buy a house.
Hey, that's a good investment.
Yeah.
You don't need to be spending money on rent. Buy a house.
For sure.
That'd be awesome, man. Hey, I'm excited for you. I know you're grinding. I know it's every second. You put every ounce into it. Try, if you can, a little bit to enjoy the process.
For sure.
It only happens once.
Definitely.
It only happens one time, and I'm like so pumped to think what that night's going to be like for you. Do you know if you're going to go to the draft? You're going to be at home? Have you decided yet?
I'll be at the draft this year.
Hey, dude, get some brats. They're delicious, man.
Looking forward
Thanks so
to
much
it.
for coming on the show. I can't believe you're not even a pro yet, and we already got Sharpies with your signature on them. That is awesome.
What can I say, man? I'm blessed.
Thanks so much for coming on the show, T.
Appreciate you for having me.
All right.
Gonna post on social at some point, but I just got 5 cases of Labatt and Labatt Blue Light. So I can now get involved at Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, where you just go to their website, snap a photo of the receipt, upload it instantly to rack up points for exclusive merch. You get points for every purchase, any store, bar, or stadium, any size, any product, anywhere you're buying Labatt. Buy Beer, Get Gear. Go to rewards.labattusa.com to sign up.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross, the biggest known, Matthew Stafford, he is staying in Los Angeles on a rework contract, while Giants, they shift their focus to former New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
So a couple things here. One is, it really is wild certain times a year when this show is 3 times a week, right? So we still have the college draft, fantasy feast, even money or weekly. But this show is no longer daily. It's now 3 times a week. Typically, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. A lot has happened since Thursday morning, man. A lot has happened since Thursday morning. I think it's because the Combine was over the weekend, so people were still doing business. We had said last week that didn't think it made sense for the Rams to trade Matthew Stafford, and they're not. Now, I posted this on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL. We're at Ross Tucker Pod. I am dying to know what this number is and what Stafford is actually making this year and next year, because it sounds like the Giants and the Raiders were willing to give him upwards of $100 million for the next couple years, guaranteed, to be their quarterback. And so I don't know that the Rams are willing to go that far. He was scheduled to make $27 million. I basically, Jack, I want to see what the discount is Stafford took to stay in Southern California, to not have to move his family and his 4 girls, to stay on a really good team, which you could argue is the second best team maybe in the NFC coming back next year, at least in the mix, certainly. So the Stafford thing's interesting because you get to a point in your career where you know you're not going to play that much longer, so you want to maximize the financial security you can get for your family, but also, you know, there's other things that matter, where you live and moving your family and the rest of your team. So I'm curious to see how much of a discount Stafford took. Never made sense for the Rams to trade him. I think that they really just wanted to see how much of a discount they could get him to take. As for the Giants and Aaron Rodgers, that does not seem like a good fit, but the Giants are one of those teams that are desperate because they know they must win this year or they're being fired. They being Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, the GM and head coach. The owner, John Mara, has said he's running out of patience. It's a bad formula. You don't want to have a GM and a head coach that are on the hot seat because then they're going to make short-term decisions, which might be short-sighted decisions.
Couple other big names off the market. The Commanders, they trade a 5th rounder for Deebo Samuel. And the Rams, they bring back tackle Larry Jackson on a 3-year, $57 million contract.
The funny thing about the Rams re-signing Jackson was that it happened like a couple hours after the Stafford news. It was the same day. I mean, they both happened Friday afternoon. It was like the Stafford news came down, and then a couple hours later, Jackson gets signed. I wonder if that was part of the conversation. Like, hey, we got to re-sign this left tackle, Matthew. You want to be protected? You want to have a good left tackle? Remember what it was like when you didn't? Well, we get this done, and you agree to this deal, we'll get Jackson signed by the end of the day. I love the inner workings of the business side of the NFL. I do know a lot of people that aren't as into it as me. They don't care about contracts and stuff. I've always thought it was really interesting. It's an aspect of, I like business. You guys know I have a few small businesses, and I like football, and I like the connection between those. The Deebo Samuel thing, you know, I never know what's going to happen later in the week. So I'm going to make that my Labatt take of the week. It's something that I feel strongly about and feel like I have a pretty good take on. It's brought to you by Labatt. With Labatt, you can buy beer and get gear. Go to their website, snap a photo of your receipt, upload it to gain points towards exclusive merch. Any size, any product, anywhere, you're buying Labatt. Sign up at rewards.labattusa.com. Here's why I really like this move for the Commanders. It is not a good free agent market for wide receivers. It's not a good draft for wide receivers. That means less supply, but there's still a huge demand. The prices are going to go up. The Commanders trade a 5th round pick, which is nothing, and they lock in Deebo Samuel at $17.5 million, right? We'll see where the prices go for other people, but remember, supply and demand. Here's what he brings. Playoff pedigree. He brings a toughness and an edge. He did not have a great year, right? The Niners think he's probably descending and maybe washed, as everybody says on the internet. The Commanders think, you know what, maybe that was a down year, maybe a change of scenery, maybe a new team. They're expecting a bounce back year from Deebo. We'll see who's right, but I think it's worth the shot for the Commanders.
Headed over to Kansas City, Travis Kelce. He is officially returning for his 13th season in the NFL.
Well, I always have mixed emotions on this because I'm happy for him. He's a really smart guy. He took all of the information into account and decided he still wants to play. So good for him. I enjoy watching him play. I would say almost especially now because he's not what he used to be from a movement standpoint. So you can see him beating people and winning and having success with his brain even more. He's had an incredible career. He's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. I personally, no inside info, personally believe if they had won the Super Bowl, that he probably would have retired. But I think that last game left a bad taste in his mouth. and I don't think he felt like he played particularly well. He doesn't want to go out like that. The only thing I would say about that is, man, it's hard to go out exactly the way you want to, right? And so we'll see if he has a better ending this year. I just always want guys that have already achieved everything he's achieved. I want them to exit the game healthy. I don't want him to suffer some type of injury that could affect the rest of his life. He's had such an incredible career already. But he's a smart guy. He took all the factors into account. Happy for him.
One more note in Kansas City, the Chiefs, their franchise tagging offensive guard Trey Smith.
That's interesting. It's almost $24 million for the franchise tag for an offensive lineman. So the highest paid guard previously was Landon Dickerson from the Eagles at $21 million a year. I thought Trey Smith would get a contract that would make him the highest paid guard in NFL history. I didn't think it would be 1 year, $24 million. I thought it'd be a long-term deal, and he ends up getting $22 million. So remember this, though. Do I think he'll stay with the Chiefs? Yes, probably. But last year, they franchise tagged L'Jarius Sneed and then traded him to the Titans for a draft choice. So that is a tool that their GM, Brett Veach, has used previously. I don't think they want to lose Trey Smith. I think they realize he brings an edge, a bully mentality. He's the enforcer of their offensive line. And I think they're hoping right now it's just a placeholder to try to get a long-term deal done. But I don't think it's 0% that they trade him, because there's other teams that would love to have Trey Smith.
And the Buccaneers, they reinstate John Gruden into their Ring of Honor.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't know they took him out. That was news to me. Did you know that, Jack?
I feel like I vaguely remember from when everything went down, but I wasn't really on top of it. I don't pay attention to the Bucs Ring of Honor a whole lot.
Yeah, no, I don't at all. I mean, good for him, I guess. Whatever.
The Eagles, they're hiring Scott Loeffler as their quarterback coach, formerly from Bowling Green.
I might do a Ross report on this. I do these social media minute videos or less talking about the latest Eagles news. Two Loeffler things that are funny. One is he's been to my hometown a lot. Reading, and in particular Wyomissing. He's the biggest reason why Chad Henne, who had a Wyomissing address but went to Wilson Westlawn High School, Loeffler came to Reading about 1 million times to recruit Henne, and he's the biggest reason why Henne went to Michigan instead of Penn State. And then I called a Bowling Green UB game, Jack, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Loeffler got ejected. He's the only Division I head coach to ever get ejected for 2, whatever it is, unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. And I called the game. And he was their offensive play caller, which is crazy.
What were your thoughts on the NFL Combine this past weekend?
Not much. Not much. Seriously, I mean, I pay attention to everybody. I see the guys that did well. I see the guys that kind of disappointed. I guess I've just grown to, I think we all can be wowed by the safety from South Carolina, or certainly I'm impressed by Membu from Baylor running a 4.9 at 332 pounds, or Will Campbell, the LSU left tackle, and his jumps at 6'6", 320. But ultimately, I'm just way, 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 way more into how these guys play on the field. And it does seem like more and more guys declining to run, right? They're not running, or they're not doing certain drills. Big fan of Smirnoff because they're a big fan of this show. They're an official sponsor of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, not to mention official vodka partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59. For me, Smirnoff is a delicious change-up. You guys know I enjoy beer. Guess what? If I'm having vodka, I'm having Smirnoff, because you can drink it without breaking the bank. Plus, they have all those hand-picked items at SmirnoffDrops.com, which is awesome. There's a lot of things they do that are Smirnoff extraordinary. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer, may vary by state. Please not share with anyone under legal drinking age. Smirnoff, we do game days. I will say this, Jack. I forgot to do the winners. We ran out of time for the winners last week. I had them ready, but I forgot to do them. So the Spread the Word winner of the week last week was Kevin Tross. He made a comment on Instagram. Remember, we're primarily talking about at Ross Tucker Pod, right? So whether it's TikTok or Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram, if you quote post or make a comment, you get a great chance to win. And then so Kevin, email me, ross@rosstucker.com, and I'll send you a signed press pass. I still have some amazing ones left over from the year. How about Andrew Westalaken? He bought not one, not two, but three of Emery's draft guides from the College Draft Podcast. It's footballgameplan.com/2025 draft guide. So Andrew, you are a winner as well. Email me, ross@rosstucker.com. Remember, if you take advantage of any of the sponsors you hear, heck, you can double down on the Labatt thing, right? I heard about one guy that got a mini fridge because he bought so much Labatt in that rewards program. The YouTube shout out, youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. More and more people are using YouTube for the podcast because they like to actually watch me and Jack and the guests. Paul Cooper made the comment for the YouTube shout out. Had an amazing weekend, by the way. Shout out to anybody that's like an instructor. My daughter Tess was in a musical. It was amazing. Can't tell you how thankful I am and grateful I am for all of the volunteers that make things like that go. The older I get, the more I appreciate all the people that do the amazing things in our communities for our kids. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. Never a bad time to get the best gift ever for a loved one. myfrontpagestory.com, backoffescheduler.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.